Hey, welcome to a new video. Today I would like to share the Agentic user experience. If you don't know what it is, hang in tight because I will go through it at lightning speed. So, as a lot of you might know, currently we do have websites, funnels, and all the traditional marketing stuff, right? What I discovered lately is that that's all outdated. And I'm not trying to create an hype or something, but funnels, as we know them, are outdated and they belong in the past. Because if you think about it, let's say you are trying to sell a course. Your funnel guy builds you a course funnel and beautiful, you launch and crickets or people buy. But then you look at your conversion numbers and maybe you hit 1%, maybe you hit 5%. If you're really good, you hit 10% of all the people that visit the page that buy. But why are these numbers so low? I'm always a little bit contrarian, and it never felt right, all these funnels and the way that we approached web experiences. And especially with AI being uh, quite smart these days, I think that it's time for a new kind of web experience. And some people are talking about it already, but it's not a big thing yet. The agentic user experience. What do I mean by that? So instead of having a static landing page or a static website where people can interact with it, you build an agentic user experience on your websites, on your funnels, or whatever it is. And basically what it means is that your web page adjusts to the specific user or viewer or visitor that is on your page, right? So if you think about it, let's say 100 people visit your website today. And all these 100 people, they all have different personalities, they have different motives, they have different solutions that they're looking for, and they all have gone a different path, right? So you might have a guy that's 20 years old, or you might have a guy that's 60 years old, or a gal that's 40. So why is the agentic user experience the next big thing? Because if you look at marketing your stuff, there is there's always been a need for customization, right? And there's simply no way to be in a website editor and wait for somebody to visit the website and start asking them questions and then build out a specific page that suits their needs and that feels like, wow, this guy is talking to me. There's simply no way, right? Or there simply hasn't been a way. But now there is a way. With the use of AI and some cool coding, you can actually build these kind of pages. And I would like to show you something. I just drafted it up real quick, so it's not at a design level I want it to be. It's not at the interaction level I want it to be. But just for the purpose of this video, I created this page, and I would like you to look at it and see what the agentic user experience actually is. So first, we dive into my current page. This is a simple homepage for a personal brand, for a business, whatever it is. And it's really simple. I have this one live, but it's not done yet. And just to show you, this is just a static site, right? Where people can interact, they can click some things. Cool. How about this? So I load my new site. Let's say I'm an international user. Who am I? Well, I am just exploring, just browsing. It's all right. And now it just created the site specifically to me being a person that's just browsing and just looking for stuff, right? And it customized everything on the page to match my specific situation. And a cool thing here, it auto loads my YouTube videos. I have a Dutch channel and an international channel. That's this one, and it automatically loads the new videos for the language that the page is. So let's say I want to visit the Dutch page. Look, it loads my Dutch videos on autopilot. It's great. So let's say I am a another type of person. I'm like, yeah, well, this does not really sound familiar. So what I do, I just go over it again. So let's say I'm a developer and I'm looking for a system design, right? And now it just creates the page again, specifically for me. And the level of sophistication here is not high, in my opinion, because I still hard coded this. So I just told um, the app or the website basically, okay, if X, then Y. This is just really simple coding, right? But what I am working on is that it will look at the behavior of the person visiting the site, and then based on that behavior and on the input that it gives like the website, it will just recreate or actually create a complete new site using an agent. And the way this will work is that I have a certain knowledge base of my business. I am still figuring out ways to host the knowledge base. So because if you use ChatGPT or stuff like that, it's cool, but it doesn't remember everything correctly, especially if you have quite a big personal brand. You have a lot of IP, like intellectual property. It's just simply not able to store it properly and retrieve the correct pieces of information that you want. So that's a side quest for me to figure out a way to build a local memory, maybe even with torrents or something like that, so it doesn't just store it in your office, especially if you have intellectual property that is privacy, uh, that you care about the privacy, then you really don't want to give all that information to companies like OpenAI and Google and stuff like that, right? You actually want to have it protected in your office in a way that even if your office burns, that the information isn't gone, and also that other people or hackers cannot access it, because that's a big risk these days. A lot of people are just talking about the AI vibe coding hype. I mean, I'm riding the wave as well, but I'm also trying to be realistic here. There's just a lot of stuff going on that's uh, increasing cyber risks and decreasing the cyber security. So we actually want to build systems in our businesses that don't break, that are safe, that are easy to use. So I might even make a video about that in the future, where I will be running an AI locally with a local memory, and we use something called RHG. And basically, it's just taking all your information, storing it in a vector database on, let's say, a hard drive or using torrents. So then it will just store it across a lot of different hard drives, so that even if one hard drive shuts down, the other hard drives are able to re- recreate that missing piece and you still have all your information. And then using RAG, an AI model can actually look at the database and it's like, okay, this piece of information I get as input, what pieces actually fit the the best with the piece of information that the user inserted, right? And the way it stores your information, it cuts it up in little pieces and it adds a value to it. And then basically what it does, it's just calculating, okay, what pieces fit this the best. So what is the best match? And because it doesn't load all the information and then starts looking at it, the context window doesn't get overloaded. And one, it's way faster, and two, it's way more accurate because, as we all know, the context window that's a big um, yeah, it's a big thing that keeps us from actually loading a lot of information that we sometimes need. And that's also something you need to realize. It's just not as simple anymore. It's just throwing a bunch of documents into ChatGPT and getting all the generic bullshit out of it. It's more about agentic user experiences and going real deep on this stuff, right? So I went down the rabbit hole. I'm sorry. I hope you guys are still interested in this stuff. But back to the agentic user experience. If I look at it from a psychological standpoint, as a marketer, people often talk about, and especially the online marketers talk about creating a customer persona, right? So let's say you are like a coach that sells a course for people that want financial security. Just uh, saying something random, right? So the way that you would approach it is, okay, who is my customer persona? Well, I'm targeting small business owners. They have access to the internet. They live in the Western world. They are male. The age range and all that kind of surface level stuff, right? And even though it's a bit valuable to approach it that way, if you think about it, it's not intelligent, right? Because, like, serious, what does it say about somebody that he lives in the Western world? Not a lot, right? I mean, especially with all the developments that we are going through, doesn't matter where you live anymore. Okay. So, what does matter in order to understand your customer and in order to attract the right types of buyers for your specific products, right? The thing that matters the most is understanding them at a psychological standpoint, okay, at a psychological level. I mean, so I recently did a personality test and a values test to see who I am and like what kind of person I am and like the really deep psychological stuff. And it might sound a little bit woke. I like to call it awake and not woke because ultimately, to run a profitable business, you need to understand who you are, right? In order to attract the right kind of people. And then you can create a customer persona based on a person that matches your values and that matches your personality that you can work with in a great way, right? So instead of just taking the easy route and just asking ChatGPT, Gemini, or whatever kind of model you use, it doesn't matter. Why not just take one step more? And it's something I'm noticing. Like, we're all talking about the competition being so crazily high and all that kind of stuff. But actually, you're right. The competition is high. Why? Because the bar is so low. People are not even willing to do the bare minimum anymore. Research in a deep level, because we have the tools to be able to do that, and then craft maybe one, two, three, four, five different personality types, and then drafting a customer persona, not just on geographical location and stuff like that. That doesn't matter too much. Sure, those are details that are great to understand them just at the basic level. But you want to understand them at a deep level. And if you understand them at a deep level, you can design a whole ecosystem where you take them by the hand and it all feels natural, right? Because if you're being honest, if you buy products these days or like online stuff, a lot of it doesn't feel natural anymore. It feels a bit forced. There's all these optimized text for converting people, but where have we gone wrong? I think we've taken the wrong path in multiple ways, but the most important one being we started thinking about converting people instead of, okay, how can I help person X in the best way? And because your customers are not the same, you need to have varying products. So, for example, my page, I provide software solutions for small businesses. There are a lot of different people. So, this first one is just four types of people, right? And I'm still exploring a lot with this. So, forgive me if this is not the level that you think it should be. It is not because I'm still working on it. But this is a prototype, right? And because there are different kinds of people. Let's say a founder, yeah, the founder is simply not coming to my workshop, right? So I'm able to filter a lot more, and I don't have to have 1,000 pages. I can have one page and run my whole business if I would like to. So what I'm trying to get across here, and what I want you to think about is, what about just going that one step or that one level deeper and just use a little bit more of resource, a little bit more energy, and actually think about your customer, not just on a surface level, because we can all do that. And everybody's an online marketer these days. So, you know, But if you actually care about your customers, which will be the most important thing going forward in this whole AI first world, then you want to understand them at a deep level. And you want to craft art, but also you want to craft an online experience that is like, okay, wow, this is in my face. Like I'm visiting this homepage of this guy, and man, he gets me, and it's like I already know him, you know. And for example, implementing a simple chat feature. So now people can ask questions. I will also connect this to my um, database where all my business information is, all the information that people need. And then based on that, I still need to build an agent for that. But based on that, I can create a system where if, let's say, they ask me a question, I'm looking for solution XYZ, and then the agent recognizes and is like, oh, cool. And then it closes the chat. And then instead of them having to read a bunch of nonsense text, the chat closes on autopilot, and then it will just scroll to the next section where it has a whole customized section with the solution that that specific person is looking for based on what I already built, what I already did for clients, and with an example, with maybe a testimonial of a client. Because if you think about it, let's say you sell a low ticket offer, um, they're not that easy to run anymore because everybody knows now what a low ticket offer is. But let's say you run a low ticket offer, and if you look at these basic funnel pages, they have like a gazillion testimonials on them just to increase trust or whatever it is, because we all recognize that we're in a trust recession. What about just implementing a simple chat feature where people can actually answer a couple of questions, or an agentic experience like this where they uh, just click one or two things, not too many things because we want to remove friction, right? But clicking stuff is very easy. You don't want them to type anything yet. And then the whole page is customized for them, and they're like, wow, yeah, I need this. Because let's say your low ticket offer has like 10 bonuses or like 10 things that are included, but the person only needs one. The person doesn't want to look at all the other nine because it takes brain power, and you don't want them to use brain power on stuff that they don't need, right? You want to provide them with the stuff that they want to buy, and they don't care if it's just one thing that they might need, and they will happily pay the $27, or how many the amount is for the thing that you're selling, because they're like, yeah, this is what I need. And people are looking for custom stuff. So I'm going to round up this video because it's going to be way too long otherwise. I want you to start thinking about your customers in a different way. You're not the average online marketer anymore. You're a business owner, and you are looking to provide your current customers and your new customers with the highest level of value possible. You want to understand them from day one, and you want to craft your offers and your web pages, your online presence, because that's the new presence, right? You want to craft that in a way that feels natural, but also feels like, wow, this guy just cares about me. So we also don't want AI generated generic text, right? That's also a big thing. Um, if you build this agentic experience, you need to have a knowledge base on the back end where you have all your existing language, right? So that it can use that to talk to the people in your specific tone, your language, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not going down a rabbit hole. I'm sorry, but yeah, I just want to get this across that there's just so much more possible if you start thinking outside the box. And it's a generic saying, I know, but you really need to start thinking outside the box. So no more static funnels because they're outdated. We want stuff that is customized for every single visitor, but also filters out the right type of visitors, right? Because if you simply don't have the solution to their problem, maybe you even can redirect them to somebody that has. If you form a bunch of partnerships with people in your industry, or like uh, in businesses that relate somehow to the problem that you're solving, but that are solving a little bit of a different problem, then you can even make some affiliate income or something like that if you form great partnerships. So um, what I'm recording this video for is to make sure that you are aware there's so much more possible than just throwing up a page and then waiting and then looking at your numbers, and then you're like, yeah, well, 1% conversion. How can we spend more on ads, or how can we do XYZ? No, you need to take one step back. You need to look at the big picture. What is going on in the world, in business? We are in a trust recession. So, what do we need to do to thrive during that period? Because only the people that care can thrive during those periods, right? If you're just about the money, then you look at the wrong things. Then you just look at your numbers instead of understanding what's behind the numbers. Because behind every visitor number, there's a face. There's a person sitting somewhere, standing somewhere, scrolling their phone, looking at your stuff, spending time with you. Why not serve them at the level that they deserve? That's it for this video. I'd like to get in touch with you and talk about this stuff, so feel free to reach out to me or just comment on this video below, and I will see you in the next one.